What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. So this movie I've only seen one time before, and yeah, the only other time that I saw it I was really not a fan, but I thought, hey, I gotta check it out. I mean, I don't have to check it out for the channel, but I want to do all these movies in succession right now, so I thought, what the heck? I'm checking it out for the channel. Maybe my opinion will change. Let me go into this with an open mind. And I thought, hey, what the heck? Maybe I will like it. But unfortunately, my opinion did not change at all. I still was really not a fan of this one. I got to do my obligatory DVD flex real quick. That was an abrupt transition, but what are you going to do? Got the 2-pack. Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. I have like the regular Jason X DVD too, but I had that before, and like the only DVD that I saw for Jason Goes to Hell at the time was this like 2-pack one. So I have like Jason X a couple times, but I like Jason X, so I'm not tripping about that. But yeah, that's the DVD flex. I love the cover. I've always loved the cover. I remember when I was like real little, like whenever I would go to Blockbuster, like before I could ever see these movies, when I was like a real little guy, I would just always check out the Friday the 13th covers, and I thought they were like really, really cool. And this one I always thought was extremely cool. Like it'd be sweet to rock a Jason Goes to Hell shirt, but I mean, I can't wear the shirt if I don't like the movie. That's, I would be a poser. So I mean, I wish the movie was good just so I could wear the shirt, because it's like it's one of the coolest horror movie covers, period. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. I just had to flex my DVD, my $6 DVD, big spender. I got this like, I don't know, a couple years ago, maybe more than that. Like, I probably got this in like 2019 or 2020 or something. No, probably 2019, but had to flex that. So yeah, there you go. So like I said, I was not a huge fan of this. I was not a fan at all. Didn't like this one, and yeah, so that's my overall opinion. And yeah, it is unfortunate. Like, I tried to give it a fair shake, but yeah, it's not my cup of tea whatsoever. So there you go. Jumping into a plot summary. At the beginning of the movie, we start out and Jason is killed by the FBI, and his body is taken to this morgue, and they're doing an autopsy, and the gentleman who's doing the autopsy, something comes over him and possesses him, and he decides to bite Jason's heart, and this makes him possessed with the spirit of Jason. So he's like, basically, like, Jason is living through his body, using his body as a vessel and killing people. And throughout the rest of the movie, Jason is possessing people, hopping from body to body and killing people. And he has to like possess a family member, and then he can be like fully resurrected in his true form. And his family members realize that they're the only ones who can like kill him for good. So there's this whole kind of tug of war where Jason is trying to possess one of his family members and become resurrected in his full form, and his family members are trying to kill him and stop him for good. So that's the basic plot summary. Jumping into my first point here, this is like the big main point that I wanted to touch on. So, okay, here's the deal. I think the biggest flaw, the biggest error with this movie is that, okay, like let me go back and explain this a little bit so I can get into my point. So, okay, so I feel like there were like, I didn't come up with this theory of like the Friday the 13th and the Jason movies, but I've heard it on podcasts and stuff where people talk about like, the first 4, maybe even 5. Well, the 5 doesn't really count because that's a copycat, but the first 4 Friday the 13th movies are like true Friday the 13th movies, and then as the series progresses, the movies become Jason movies where you're going to see Jason. He's the star. He like became this pop culture phenomenon, and it's like he's like front and center. And in the earlier ones, he's like creeping in the shadows. It's maybe a little bit more about the story, maybe a little bit more about the characters. Like in the later entries, it just becomes more about Jason and just showcasing Jason on screen a lot. Like I think part 6 is probably like the first Jason movie where it's like he's on screen so much. He's on screen during the day. He's not obscured, and it's about like these crazy kills, and he's the star. Like as the series progressed, I feel like it turned from the Friday the 13th movies into the Jason movies. And yeah, at this point, they were the Jason movies. It was like Jason's going to Manhattan. We're throwing him in different settings. He's fighting a woman with these, psychic powers. Like at this point, the movies are Jason movies. They're far from the Friday the 13th movies, like the original 4. They're Jason movies. It's just about throwing Jason in crazy situations and scenarios. And this one, more than even the last few movies, should be a Jason movie because, this is the first New Line one. The New Line ones, they can't call them Friday the 13th. They like have to call them Jason. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Jason X. So if the last few were Jason centric and Jason was the star, and then this one you have to call it Jason Goes to such and such, why is Jason like not in the movie? I know it took a long time to get to that point, but I just think that's crazy. Like at this point, the movies are Jason movies. They're not Friday the 13th anymore. They're Jason. Especially now that New Line has the rights with this one. You gotta call it Jason. Like, why was it not? If it should have just focused on Jason at this point in the franchise. That's what people are coming to see. I would have felt, if I would have saw this in the theater, I would have felt cheated. I felt cheated watching it. Like, I commend the filmmakers. They took a risk. What was this movie ballsy? Absolutely. But did it work for me personally? Absolutely not, because I feel like it was too different. Part 7 was very different. Like, he's fighting this girl with these powers, but it's still, there's still like a lot of similar stuff. He's still at Camp Crystal Lake. He's just running around killing people. He pretty much, like, he looks very different, but pretty much that classic Jason look. It's like, part 8, it still feels like, it still feels in line with the other ones. This one is just like this crazy body hopping movie. It's not even Jason in it. It's just like he's possessing these random dudes. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it was too different, and it just, and I don't know, maybe it didn't work well because it was like so far in the franchise too. Like at this point, you kind of know what to expect with these movies, and it's like, it's like the 9th one, and then they're like trying all this crazy stuff, and then in addition to just like taking these crazy risks, they're introducing all this new stuff that, there's been 8 movies before this. We've never heard that Jason has living relatives. We've never heard this whole thing where he can body hop and possess people, and he has to be killed by one of his family members. Like, I don't know, it's just too late in the game to like add this stuff. Like, why, if these were all, if these elements were like part of the character and part of the world. Like, why were they not introduced in previous movies? Like, that's the vibe you get when you're watching this, and that's, I feel like, what they were doing. Like, they were just making shit up when they wrote this. Like, they were just adding shit. Like, I don't know. A lot of this stuff I feel like had no business being in the movie. They literally just made shit up. Like, out of nowhere. Like, this is, I don't know. And it just, I didn't like the whole thing where he's like, he can possess people now, and he can like it just, I don't know. Like, him turning into a zombie, I can get behind that, but this was like a little too out there. So yeah, I know that was like long-winded, but I just kind of wanted to like air out my grievances, and that was my main thing, where it's like, at this point we're looking for a Jason movie, and then for him not to be in it pretty much at all, I mean, I think that's a little bit nuts. And I think they did get way too experimental with this. Experimental is good. I don't want to see the same movie every time. I like when stuff is changed a little bit, but this was, it didn't feel like a Jason movie, you know? It didn't feel like a Jason movie or a Friday the 13th movie. I don't know what it felt like. It felt like some body swapping sci-fi movie, like sci-fi horror movie. Like, it didn't feel in line with any of the other movies. And yeah, I was just not a fan. So here's the deal. I want to give like a little positive now, because I kind of just totally ragged on the movie. I actually really like the look of Jason in this movie. How he's all kind of like puffy, and he almost has this like melted look, and like the mask is melted into his face, and his clothes are all raggedy. I like the look of him in this movie, and when I was a kid I actually had a Jason Goes to Hell mask. I think I got it at like Party City or some costume store. It was like this Halloween costume. I didn't actually wear it for Halloween, but it was like, you got a shirt. It was like this green shirt, and it was like, had like little pieces of the shirt were ripped. Not really, but like on the graphic, like it looked like it was ripped, and you'd see like zombie flesh. And then it came with the Jason Goes to Hell mask. It wasn't like a full mask that would go around your whole head, but it was like just like a front face mask, and it had like a strap in the back, and it had that like puffy look, and the mask was like melted, and it was like a rubber mask. I thought that was like a really cool mask as a kid. So yeah, I had the mask, and I've always liked his look in this movie. Yeah, it's like, it's not my favorite zombie Jason look, and sometimes like his head looks like way too big. Like the back of his head. Well, I guess he's always had like a really big head. Like in part 4, he had like a huge head. But yeah, like it's not my favorite look for Jason. But I think like when he's actually on screen as Jason, I think he looks pretty good. So there you go. And then another positive that I want to get into is there was some decent practical effects in this, and some decent body horror. Like, in terms of the kills, most of the kills were not good, but there's this one instance where this guy is melting, and like it's reminiscent of something from like Street Trash or Hellraiser. Like, the guy is like melting and basically turns to like a skeleton, and like his jaw falls off. That was great. I was like, man, like this is awesome. Like this is some beautiful body horror, beautiful practical effects. I'm here for it. And there's this one guy that gets like partially decapitated, and then this monster comes out of his neck, and I think the monster's supposed to be like the essence of Jason, but I don't know. Even though I thought that was stupid, like that's supposed to be the essence of Jason or whatever, I thought it looked really good, and it was like really cool creature effects. So yeah, this movie had some cool little body horror, cool little body horror, cool little practical effects. So there you go. And then I kind of talked about the kills not being great, but there was one kill that I really, really liked. So there's like a little sequence where there's these kids, and they're going to Camp Crystal Lake, and there's this like couple, and they're in a tent, and this one girl, she gets stabbed through the tent and like stabbed through the chest, and then Jason like pulls like I think he was stabbing her with like just like a straight up machete, pulls it up, and it like rips her torso like all the way. That was great. Like the effects were great, and I like that whole little sequence where you actually had the kids at Camp Crystal Lake. Like I'm like, oh, it's starting to feel a little bit like a Jason movie or Friday the 13th movie. Like here we go. This is nice. So I thought most of the kills were pretty weak, but that kill was really good. So I have to shout it out. Jumping into another negative, I didn't like the look of this movie. I feel like it had this very dark gray tone to it. Of course, a lot of horror movies are set at night. A lot of horror movies are dark in terms of their actual subject matter and the look. But like, I don't know, the way they color graded this, the way they lit this, it just had this like drab gray look, and I don't know, like it had like just kind of like a generic boring look. It wasn't like vibrant, like it didn't pop. And then like a lot of the night shots, it was like almost hard to see what was going on. Like it wasn't necessarily lit bad, like you could for the most part see what was going on, but I don't know, like it just the look in this did not work for me. It definitely turned me off. So yeah, I didn't like the look in terms of like the color grading and the lighting. I thought it had like a very gray look to it, which I was not a fan of. And yeah, that's basically the last little thing that I wanted to bring up. I hope I didn't, like rag on this movie too much. I try not to be too negative on here, but in terms of a recommendation, I would not recommend this movie. Like I said, it just does not feel in line with the franchise. Yeah, it's cool to take risks, and within a franchise, you do want to introduce some new stuff so that people don't get like franchise fatigue. Like you got to change it up a little bit, but I feel like they went way too experimental with this. It like I don't know. It had no business. This movie had no business being in the franchise. If it was like its own thing, that's maybe it would be cool. But like, I don't know. They like don't mess with my boy Jason like that. Like when I watch these movies, I want to see Jason on screen, killing people. Most of the time at a camp. Like sometimes when they do change it a little bit, it's cool. But like, don't mess with the core elements. Like this franchise, it doesn't have to be anything more than it. Like the core of it is very simple, and I feel like people like that simplicity. Like a lot of slashers in general, I talk about this, they're very formulaic, and that's kind of why I like them. There's like a element of comfort, like you know what you're gonna get. Like at this point in the franchise, when I'm in the 9th installment, I said, when I'm at the 9th installment, I should pretty much know what I'm getting, It shouldn't be so formulaic. You can change it a little bit, but it's like this was nuts. Like this was a crazy departure for me. So I would not recommend it. I don't think it's a good Jason movie. So there you go. That's been my recommendation, and that has been my review. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.